Yo, what's going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Zero Spike back again once again. And today, people, today we have an Ohsama Sentai Kingohger episode 10. And in this episode, we see a true unite of the rest of all the kings of this kingdom. We see that everybody's still kind of recuperating from trying to get their basically trying to get everything back together ever since the Dark Narak attack on all the kingdoms and putting all these big giant cocoons in all the kingdoms. And we see that Yama is speaking with Kimino, and he's kind of angry that that healing his subordinate didn't go as well as he wanted it to, even though everyone is okay, but at the same time everyone is still kind of hurt. We see that they kind of argue back and forth trying to figure out if they want to truly work together or not. That's when they get a call from that man Raculus, who essentially says that, hey, we all need to work together, put aside our regular differences, because he wanted them to relinquish like power of their kingdoms, basically power of their people, even in this dire time, because he feels like he's still going on that whole thing of, I want to be the true ultimate king and have control over everything. So they all basically refuse to that, saying that we're not all gonna like basically bow down to him. And he says that he wants them to relinquish like ownership, like authority of their kingdom, so he could do something about it, which Raculus does absolutely nothing in this episode. He's like in two scenes. He's like in one scene in the beginning and one scene in the end, and he doesn't have any type of like dialogue or anything else after they have that first conversation with him. So we see that now that everyone has basically decided not to work together, we get a scene of Gira, who has been captured by the Bug Narok, and he is being tortured. Well, he's being tortured by Dark Narok, and Dark Narok is telling him, I need you to call the three guardian spirits so I can control them and basically turn the world upside down, which is essentially like his thing. So of course Gira refuses. Gira's like, no, I'm not doing all that. You can kiss my ass. Kiss my ass, big bug man. Excuse my language. But we go back to all the kings, and essentially they have decided to evacuate their countries. They're basically evacuating their countries because the kings are basically taking the initiative to protect their people at all costs, essentially, just like protect their people basically leaving their nations, because they really can't do anything about these five cocoons, because they can't call King-Ohger, and King-Ohger can't be in five places basically cannot be in five places at once to take out all these cocoons simultaneously, especially when all these monsters are going to hatch all at the same time. So they basically have a heart-to-heart talk with all of their assistants, basically giving them like that pep talk that they need to essentially get out there and go fight. And everyone essentially gets that little pep talk from their all their assistants. And we go back to Gira, who is still being tortured by Dark Narak, but Dark Narak is taking it upon himself to go out here and start beating a bunch of people up. So we see that Dark Narak grabs Gira and shows him what's going to happen when because these cocoons are getting ready to explode. He takes Gira out there and shows him on this mountainside of what's going to happen, essentially telling him to still give me the three greater guardian spirits. But Gira's like, no, I'm not going to do that, because the other kings are still mobilizing, and they are not the type of people who are going to give up their kingdoms, and they're not going to just bow down to you and stuff like that. So he kicks Gira off the mountain, and Gira's left fighting there. And that's when everybody else shows up all at the same time, and we are led with the amazing choreography and camera scenes of this amazing fight scene of everyone fighting off the little ant bug narok. Well, not ants, but I consider them ants, but the little bug narok grunts. Everybody's going off and fighting these guys, and these amazing choreographed fight scenes, and the awesome camera work, and the cinematography is always freaking good in this show. And they essentially get a good hit on Dark Narak. They get a good hit on him, and he talks a bunch of ish, and then he leaves. So that's when everybody kind of comes together, and they decide to use their swords to basically call King-Ohger. But before that, We ended up calling. All three guardian spirits end up showing up as well. Bata show up as well. We see Bata, Sasarin, and Scorpio, and they all decide to help out the rest of the King-Ohger as they all say a pretty cool speech, throw their swords up in the air, and end up calling King-Ohger. We make King-Ohger, and when they make King-Ohger, they ended up taking the three guardian spirits and fusing them all together with King-Ohger, and essentially creating like that miracle that they talked about that happened a very long time ago, about using all the original kings, using King-Ohger and the three guardian spirits to save all five kingdoms. After that, we get the big, huge, basically, I guess the Ultra Zord. I guess the essentially would be like an Ultra Zord, because it's like the main five with a few little auxiliary Zords, and then all three guardian spirits there at once. So they ended up going to each kingdom after, then when that happens, we see all the cocoons all hatch all at the exact same time, and we get five giant monsters appearing in each kingdom. That's when we see King-Ohger go in and essentially is flying across the world at light speed, basically flying across the world at light speed, going to each kingdom, fighting each monster and capturing them, teleporting them, and then basically bringing them all together in Shu Gundam. And end up annihilating all of them in one big hit. So yeah, that's how they end up defeating all of the five giant monsters. But we see that Raculus is the one that basically takes credit for all of what happened in that scene. Well, basically in this, when King-Ohger defeated them all, he basically takes all the credit of that. But after he takes all the credit, when we see that the rest of the kings do not argue with it, they don't say anything about it. They just go back to their regular kingdoms and establish their power. Well, already established power, but they go back to their regular kingdoms. We did see that. And also, Gira remains in hiding. We see that Gira is also say he's going to stay in hiding for a while. But we see Doc Narak is back in his base. His assistant comes up to him and tells him that all preparations have been taken care of. And that's when we end with Doc Narak having that big maniacal lapse. So it seems like mostly everything that he was doing was possibly a big distraction from what he actually is trying to do. We don't know what he's trying to do essentially, but we see that he is basically making these preparations for something big, and it seems like all this part was just some big distraction he was trying to do. Whew. But other than that, this was a very pretty good ass episode. It is the first episode where we get not the first, but everybody inside of King-Ohger, and with all three guardian spirits, the first episode for that, and we see all of them working together, also taking control. When they go to their respective kingdoms, they're the ones that take control and destroy whatever monster was in their kingdom. And we got the debut of them actually saying, "We are King-Ohger," Ohsama Sentai Kingohger. They actually end up saying that. Well, Gita says it, but it's actually pretty freaking dope. But yeah, they ended up defeating all three. They ended up defeating all the monsters. Raculus takes all the credit, and that's the end. But next episode, we get the narrator. We all know that the narrator is the Sixth Ranger. He says that I guess I can't stay asleep for long. And the next episode, we are going to get the debut of him. I don't think he's going to see him in his Ranger form, but next episode seems like it's going to be kind of like a gag-ish kind of episode. We see like some wacky antics being taken in the episode. So maybe this is like the cool down episode after a big event or a big battle. So yeah, kind of looking forward to that. I'm actually looking forward to actually seeing this guy in action, and hoping to see that how he impacts the story even further than he already does. But other than that, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of this episode of Ohsama Sentai Kingohger. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and remember, as I always say, guys, stay henshined.